From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Wednesday, June 3rd. It is another spectacular day outside. Humidity levels are going to stay low. Temps are going to be warm, 70s to low 80s. Picture perfect weather, mostly sunny, and honestly, you just can't beat it. So get outside and enjoy today.
Central Indiana. Wish TV is now live on YouTube TV and Hulu Live, offering more hours of local programming than any other station. Search for Wish TV or look for CW8 on both YouTube TV and Hulu Live to find us. Watch local news, sports, and lifestyle shows live from Wish TV. You can still catch Wish TV free over the air or stream it live on WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile apps. Wish TV, available in more places for the latest news, weather, and sports.
New on Daybreak, the Trump administration says it is planning extra tariffs of 10% or more for U.S. trading partners. It comes after a probe into imports of goods allegedly made with forced labor. The increase in tariffs would apply to Canada, Mexico, Taiwan, the U.K., and other trade partners for failing to implement a forced labor import ban. The government says an additional 12.5% tariff will be imposed on China, Japan, India, South Korea, Brazil, and Switzerland. Tariffs are not immediately in effect. Public hearings on the duties are set to start on July 7th. Here in Indiana, Governor Braun is defending the state's new immigration enforcement law. He calls it the next step after his initial enforcement actions. The new law requires law enforcement agencies to notify a judge if someone in their custody has an immigration detainer filed against them. They must comply with any requests related to that detainer. It also bans hiring or employing anyone who does not have authorization to work in the United States. And it requires monthly reports on reimbursements for federal immigration detainees at the Miami Correctional Facility. Critics argue the law improperly inserts state authorities into what has historically been a federal matter.
It's America's most fundamental laws because our highest duty is to keep Hoosiers safe. And my highest responsibility as governor is public safety.
Everything else about this bill is just riddled with fear and riddled with a deterrent of participating in public life as a Hoosier, as somebody who lives here, has family here, who works here, who worships here. All of the things that they wrote into this legislation just deter them from accessing that.
The new law takes effect on July 1st. The governor is also defending his announcement that June will be known as Traditional Nuclear Families Month. Braun says it is not meant to target non-traditional families. Braun said the nuclear family, consisting of one husband, one wife, and a biological, adopted, or foster children, is God's design for the family structure and has been the foundation of society since the creation of the world. That's drawn criticism from LGBTQ plus advocates who point out June is Pride Month. We asked the governor about the criticism during a news conference yesterday.
It sends no message other than the nuclear family is important. And just like when we made adjustments to DEI, I met with all the stakeholders that didn't like what we did there. Obviously, that got complicated. It didn't make sense. And this isn't about any other statement other than the nuclear family is important. You're going to have others that might say otherwise, but that's not the case.
Declaring one family better than another family is definitely not an answer for the questions I just put forth. You know, does this improve access to childcare? Does this improve access to better health care and affordability when it comes to health care or housing prices?
The governor also commented on the controversy surrounding the Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith's assertion on a podcast that he hates Islam. Braun says he would not have used those words. The governor says that he expects the Chicago Bears to make a decision whether to move to Indiana in the next month. It comes after Illinois lawmakers failed to pass an incentive package for the team during its legislative session. It ended earlier this week. Indiana lawmakers have already passed legislation to help the team build a new stadium.
They came to us 6 months ago, and look at the time they squandered, and we made it easy. I coined the phrase that I think resonated across the country that's helped us in other areas.
The Chicago Bears say the team will finalize its evaluation of both states' offers and remain on a late spring, early summer timeline. The Indiana State Police dive team has recovered the body of a missing 24-year-old man in Speedway. Police say Isidro Esteban Rios was reported missing Monday. His body was found in a retention pond by an apartment complex yesterday. Investigators say they used drones to locate the submerged van before calling Indiana State Police and the dive team. For one of his closest friends, losing him was hard to put into words.
He got a lot of family, I know that, but he was more like a brother to me. He's a great person. He has a great heart. He's a real nice person.
Police say they are still trying to figure out how the van ended up in the water. The cause of death has not yet been revealed. Police have arrested a 17-year-old for a deadly shooting in Marion. Police say 20-year-old Christabel Lester was shot in the head inside a SUV on Monday. It happened on Southwestern Avenue between 9th and 10th Streets. Police say they found the suspect in Anderson. Investigators say at this point it is not clear what led to the shooting. Police say a 12-year-old boy has life-threatening injuries after he was shot in the head in Logansport. Officers found the boy on East Broadway near 14th Street early yesterday morning. He was flown to a trauma center where he is now. Police have not released any other information. Today marks 15 years since an IU student in Bloomington vanished. Lauren Spierer went missing on June 3rd, 2011. Her family posted on social media this morning that they will never stop searching for answers. But the search, many questions, and the case remain open.
You just feel that emptiness, that hollowness, and we just miss her terribly. So that's all we want. We just want Lauren back.
That was Lauren Spierer's mom, Charlene, in the summer of 2011. Desperately searching for her 20-year-old daughter, a sophomore at IU, missing in Bloomington.
Greatest hope is to find Lauren.
The plea of her and her husband 15 years later sadly remains the same. The family posted on the Find Lauren Facebook page that they did not want to talk to the media this June. But the post ends with these words: 15 years does not go unnoticed, nor does every minute of every day we live without Lauren.
Cannot imagine how it feels.
Lauren vanished on June 3rd after a night out. Time spent at Kilroy Sports Bar, where she left her phone, Smallwood, the apartments where she lived, and a friend's townhouse before the boy she was with claimed she left to return home at around 4:30 in the morning, last seen at 11th and College.
No one suspects she's alive, and that's a sad reality. But the case remains alive.
Sean Cohen has been trying to solve this case since the days after Lauren disappeared. Back then, our own Phil Sanchez covered the relentless search day after day and talked to Sean when he was a local reporter from Lauren's hometown.
It's hard to know what news will happen on this. It seems like any day there could be a break. Maybe it'll surprise us.
In the years since, Cohen got permission from Lauren's family to look into the case and review their private investigators' findings.
Do you think she just vanished?
What I will say is that 13 years later, there's still not a shred of evidence that she ever made it out of those townhouses alive.
Then Phil interviewed him again 2 years ago when Cohen released his book, College Girl Missing, the true story of how a young woman disappeared in plain sight, uncovering new, chilling details about the case.
It brings clarity, essentially, to what happened that night, up until the moment she ended up in that townhouse complex. And you see the evolving statements of those individuals who were there in those final moments.
In the book, Cohen talked to Corey Rossman, one of the last people to be seen with Lauren. Here's his lawyer in 2011.
His memory stops about the time they leave Kilroy's and resumes when he wakes up.
Was able to get Corey talking some and Jay Rosenbaum, who was the last boy to see her. And I think that's the big question, I think, that is so vexing for so many people is, did she die in that townhouse complex? Did she make it out? If she did, is there any clue of her walking down the street, beyond Jay Rosenbaum's word?
At the 10-year anniversary, Bloomington police posted this update on Facebook.
Many times we are asked if Lauren's case is listed as a cold case. The answer to that is an unequivocal no.
The department says it has received thousands of tips, interviewed hundreds of people, obtained a multitude of court orders, executed innumerable search warrants, and continues to work most closely with the FBI.
Please remember that anything small could be big.
I asked Cohen if he thought Bloomington police botched the case.
Botched is a strong word. I think they weren't aggressive. If they were really going hard from the get-go, that they might have been able to collect evidence that would have been telling.
15 years ago, there wasn't the same level of technology, potential video evidence to perhaps crack the case. But Cohen is pushing forward.
I can't state my conclusion. The family certainly can't state a conclusion. They have a strong suspicion.
Cohen says they hope a friend or a spouse who knows something might speak up.
I think that the important thing is to keep this case in the spotlight. That's what I tried to do.
For now, the search, much like these days so many years ago, continues.
Every single morning we wake up and say, well, we hope today is the day.
The case not cold, but Lauren still missing.
It's a mystery, and it's one that's really continued to haunt a lot of people.
In full transparency, I worked as an intern for the Bloomington police chief's wife, a judge in the Monroe County Courthouse at the time of Lauren's disappearance. I had just graduated from IU weeks before. I reached out to Bloomington Police about this story. They declined to do an interview, saying that is their best practice when it comes to this case, because they do not risk compromising the integrity of the investigation. They did say since this time last year, the department has investigated 23 new tips, and a total of 980 supplemental reports have been generated in the case. If you know anything, you are asked to call Bloomington Police. Now to the war in Iran. U.S. military leaders say they fired missiles at an oil tanker as it broke past blockades. Officials say that the Botswana-flagged vessel was in international waters when the crew ignored warnings. The U.S. military says it also disabled a ship sailing toward Iran this past weekend. Central Command says the U.S. conducted self-defense strikes in response to Iran's attempted attacks across the Middle East. Breaking news also, Kuwait says it has suspended all commercial flights after Iranian drones and a strike hit its primary airport. Kuwaiti officials are reporting an unspecified number of injuries and damage to the airport. The winners from Tuesday's California primary may not be known for some time. Reed Binion reports on how the state's electoral rules could bring some interesting results.
June primaries are notoriously lower turnout, but this one is trending above that norm.
Election officials in California expecting to tally a higher than normal turnout in this year's primary elections held Tuesday. 6 states held primaries Tuesday, but the elections in the Golden State captured a lot of interest, 2 in particular. The race for mayor of Los Angeles, America's second largest city, and of course the gubernatorial primary for a chance to lead the most populous state in the nation after term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom leaves office. As expected, that crowded primary saw 3 top contenders emerge in early election night returns. Trump-backed political commentator Steve Hilton, billionaire Democratic activist Tom Steyer, and former Biden administration Health Secretary Javier Becerra. Early returns also supported expectations in the Los Angeles mayoral primary, with 3 contenders emerging. Current Mayor Karen Bass running for re-election, Republican former reality TV star Spencer Pratt, and Democratic Socialist LA City Council member Nithya Raman. Bass projected to advance to the general election.
It's looking good so far, and I am so glad to be here with everyone.
Reed Binion for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
The Indiana Fever are going into tomorrow's home game with a new mindset. Saturday night's loss in Portland was a wake-up call for the team. Angela Morian has more on a special meeting the team held yesterday.
Frustration is high for the Indiana Fever. After dropping to 500 with a blowout loss to Portland, the team held a nearly 2-hour-long meeting to regroup and get back on track as June begins.
After Portland, that's not it. We can't be playing like that. We're too good. And so we needed that meeting, and we peeled back all the layers. And so I think everyone's on a good page right now, and we're ready to work.
Anytime you get an opportunity to have, authentic, real conversation, it's good. This is collaborative stuff with us, and some of it's execution, and some of it's, learning one another. We want this to be a player-led team. We want, them to be empowered to take ownership, be empowered to have, hard conversations.
I think it's a part of being a family. Losing is important. I think you find out a lot about yourself, about where you need to be, where you're missing a mark, and I think that I'm happy that it's happening now. If there is frustrations, and I would rather it be now than later.
The Fever's attentions now turn to the Atlanta Dream and the start of the Commissioner's Cup right here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Thursday. Winning the Cup last year was a major turning point for this team. The Fever hope it has the same effect this season.
We went through a lot, and just to see everyone kind of come together and everyone contributed, got positive reinforcement that everyone is needed, and so I think that's always good for a team. But that's last year. This year is completely different, and so we got to dial in today and get better offensively and defensively.
I think there's a little confidence in all of that. I just think that you don't want to have to keep letting it come down to that, if I'm being honest. You don't want to have to keep letting it come down to, well, you got a chance, and you got a chance, because eventually your chances run out. Hopefully there's a fine line between waiting and going to get it.
The Fever are determined to take advantage of that next chance on Thursday. Angela Morian, Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordell. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.